Hello, my darlings, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name is Maria. This is a channel about spirituality. Please subscribe below to see more videos like this one. I have done a podcast about spiritual reasons for being overweight not too long ago. And since then, I have been getting questions, some DMs from some of you, around the topic of overeating. And the big question is, why cannot I stop myself from overeating? Like, when I know I've had enough, why do I keep reaching out, or why do I develop these food cravings? So today I figured I would offer my perspective on overeating, the spiritual perspective on overeating. Let me say one thing. Obviously, I'm not a doctor. I'm not here to advise you on your medical conditions. Neither would I ever claim that there is only one side to reality, ever. There's not just one side to reality. There's not just one answer to the question. Life is all about perspectives. One perspective is not any more truer than the other perspective. So here today, I'm merely sharing my perspective in hopes that it would be helpful to you if you're struggling with the issue of overeating. Food is indelibly connected to emotion within humans. We are using food as a proxy for getting emotions that we would like to experience more of, for getting an emotional connection to something. There's not one way to generate an emotion. Obviously, naturally, as we go about our lives, certain emotions get generated. Not all of these emotions are positive, and not all of the emotions that we generate on a day-to-day basis are nurturing for our body. Now, we don't necessarily go about our day thinking that our bodies may be craving certain emotions more than others. We don't necessarily go about our day thinking that our body is like a vessel, and it almost like has expectations for things like safety, for things like love, for things like comfort, etc., etc., etc. But our bodies, our physical bodies, have these need to experience certain positive emotions almost on a daily, right? And sometimes these emotions are hard to come by. Like, come on, look at the state of our world. It is dire out there. When we're talking about positive emotions, sometimes it's really, really hard to generate those emotions. Everything in our body is interconnected. Everything in our body is intertwined. That's why what happens in your emotional body impacts the physical. What happens in your mental body impacts the physical. Everything always impacts everything else. And so our bodies have developed this way to substitute the absence of a positive emotion with food. That is why even in our human language, we have such a phrase as comfort food. It is understood by our conscious and subconscious that certain foods have an ability to bring in the comfort to us, to give us the warm fuzzies inside. And I just think that what perhaps is misunderstood is just how much we depend on food to help manufacture certain emotions in our lives. I'll start giving you some examples. When you start developing cravings, you should, whatever craving you have, is always like a pointer, like a red flag that is pointing to a deficiency of a particular emotion. Those cravings can be unique to you, but then there are bigger patterns within the larger human family around cravings. For example, if you're craving sweets, and by sweets, I usually mean things like chocolate, candy, anything that's sweet, caramel, not necessarily fruit sweet. Although fruit sweet could also be that, but very sweet fruit like grapes, etc. So if you're craving sweets, usually the emotion that you're lacking is love, right? So people who lack love would tend to develop cravings around sweets. When I say love, it's not just romantic love, although that is a part of it. It's not just love from a parent. It is also self-love. So people who are hard on themselves, who have a high bar for themselves, who are really strict with themselves, all your perfectionists out there, all of the people with a very loud inner critic, very often develop a craving for sweets. So next time you're reaching out for that candy bar, or you're reaching out for that Nutella jar, or you're reaching out for that ice cream, although ice cream, we're going to get to that later in a second. please know that what your body is telling you is, I am craving love from you right now. And because I'm not getting that love from you right now, I will take a chocolate. I will take that candy. But really, that's not what I want. What I want is for you to love me better, or for these other people to love me better, right? So that is the emotion of love. There are some other ones. For instance, if you are craving baked goods or gluten doesn't really sound all too fancy, but like pizza, pasta, breads, croissants, any and all of these baked things, all the baked goodness, usually what you're craving is the energy of your father, if that makes sense. And by the way, you can have a terrific relationship with your father, or you can have a really bad relationship with your father. But subconsciously, when you're reaching out for that, piece of baguette, you are craving the nurturing of your father or his energies in your life. Again, whether he's present or not present, right? There's something about that craving that leads you back to your father. If you're craving dairy, cheeses, milks, etc., you're craving mother connection very often. Again, there is an exception to every rule, but these are some of the things. Now, one thing that is important to you is this. We all have a tool called automatic writing. This is something that everybody can do. Not everybody is an intuitive. Not everybody is connected to higher self. The good news is, when diagnosing why you're overeating and why you're having certain cravings, you don't need to be psychic. You can just use automatic writing. Automatic writing is something that works literally with 85% of humanity. And if we stop overanalyzing things, it would work with 100% of humanity. This is when you are asking your hand to give you the answer. So if you're trying to understand why you're overeating, what you need to understand is, what emotions is your body craving? Not what foods. Foods are just a byproduct. It's a cop-out, right? It's your body saying, hey, I cannot get this emotion, so I will settle for this food. So here's what you should do when you're trying to diagnose yourself. Take a piece of paper, write down specific foods that you're craving, usually, right? Because you usually have patterns. It's not like you're randomly overeating on everything in the fridge. I can put a bowl of spinach in front of you and you'd be like, no, thank you, or whatever that is for you, right? Like, you usually overeat certain categories of things. There are only certain foods that you cannot stop eating. There are only certain foods that you crave. And then these other foods, you're like, could live without them. So write down the list of the foods that you crave, and then use your hand, and then essentially put another column next to it. And that column is going to be, what is the emotion that I actually crave? This food is a proxy for an emotion that I lack. What is the emotion that I actually need? And let your hand do the writing, right? For instance, you put the word, cucumbers. What is it that you actually crave? For people that crave cucumbers, actually, what they crave is a fresh perspective or new emotions. What they crave is adventure, actually. So yeah, for people who love cucumbers, they're a little bit like a Sagittarius. They cannot sit still. So if you've been sitting still too long and you crave cucumbers, it's because your body wants adventure. So take it out, travel, do something, right? Don't sit in your house. This is just an example. But your hand knows the answer. It's not even your hand. It's spirit, essentially, has the ability to communicate through your hand. So food, and then write down what is the emotion that you're lacking. And then in the next column right next to it, write down all the ways that you think that's not your handwriting, that is you already writing. Trying to think through, how can you get yourself to feel that emotion that you're craving, or the feeling? If for me, the emotion is love, how can I make myself feel more love? What are the things that my body needs for it to know that I love it? Is it for me taking some time off of my job? Is it for me treating my body to a massage, or going to a sauna or a steam room? Is it actually skipping gym? What would be the ways that I can show myself and my body that I love it? Is it just holding myself and giving myself a deep hug and just telling myself that it's all going to be okay? The answer is going to be very different for all of you. And then next time, that you get that craving, try, giving yourself the emotion and see and watch how your craving diminishes. And over time, the more you proactively feed a particular emotion into your body and add that emotion into your life, then the craving is going to disappear eventually, right? And so, for instance, if your answer is, hey, I need sauna for my body to feel loved, then schedule it in your calendar. Like, don't wait for things to get really bad, because things like that have a cumulative effect. Just keep doing. Keep giving your body what it wants, what it needs. Alrighty, my darlings, let me know if you have any questions on this below. I know this is, potentially an interesting topic. Hopefully, this provided a new perspective for you. Hopefully, it would enable you to stop blaming yourself when you're reaching out for that food. Because I think that the blame game is what keeps us trapped, and it keeps us not in our position of power. Stop making yourself wrong for the things that you crave. In fact, liberate yourself. Acknowledge the fact that you are human and you require certain emotions. It is completely normal for you to require certain emotions. Like, it is the name of the game. It is table stakes. And start catering to yourself, right? Start giving things to you that you so crave instead of feeling bad that you ate another cake. Remember how I told you we're going to get to ice cream? Completely forgot about that. Ice cream is dairy. You're craving ice cream, that's some other connection. Oh, by the way, another question that I'm getting from the collective is, okay, well, I'm craving my father energy or I'm craving my mother energy. What should I do? You have to go and do some healing on your mother and on your father. I did podcast episodes about healing the father wound and the mother wound. We will link them down below for you guys. They were a while ago from my podcast, so we will link those videos. Secondarily, if you are craving your mother or father energy, that means you're craving their company. So give them a call, text them, ask them how they're doing. Ironically, you would notice that would diminish the craving. Alrighty, my darlings, I hope this was helpful. Please let me know in the comments what you think. What are some of the things that you're craving and what you have noticed about your own patterns? And I'm excited for you to dive into this exercise, this practice, and get to know yourself better. And also meet yourself at the level of your expectations. That's really what's important. Sending you so much love, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.